Now, get into more with the Iran situation here. We're joined by Avi Melamed, founder and CEO of Inside the Middle East, Intelligence Perspectives and Middle East Experts. Many years with us. Avi, thanks for joining from Jerusalem. Look, this drone strike, by many accounts at least, it appears to be perhaps like previous attacks blamed on Israel, which I don't think Israel said anything. But do you agree with that assertion that if this was Israel, this is a type of messaging campaign as well, saying, look, these more domestic issues can't distract us, that Iran is still, there's enough bandwidth essentially in the Israeli security establishment to deal with Iran?
Well, first, we don't know if it was Israel, but I think that we could say if there was some involvement, I think that we should have been or could have been involvement of a larger state. I think that what we saw the other night is something in a quite wide scale, given to the proportions and to the timing of that thing. The Iranian, of course, will point the blame on Israel. They did it, of course, in the past. Israel, as always, will, I guess, will not comment to that officially. But I would say that this is a significant message to the Iranians, and particularly, I would say it coming from the United States.
Certainly a lot of room for messaging there right now. Look, there's layers of issues plaguing Iran right now. I mean, the earthquake that just took place, fires at refineries, defense factories under attack, ongoing street unrest. However, despite all this, does the regime appear shaky? I mean, how do you see the situation right now?
Well, look, I mean, there are different components that you just mentioned regarding the uprising that goes on in Iran as of now, and it seems like that will be the case as far as we can see. The Iranian regime is still holding on. It's though the uprising in Iran present the regime in some kind of like an unprecedented challenge domestically. It is not something that we evaluate that is going to bring that regime down, but it's definitely joins to other challenges that the regime is facing economically, domestically, regionally. Obviously, events such as the events that we see right now don't help the regime so much and don't add a lot of health, sort of speaking, to the regime. I think that there is very significant thing to take in consideration when we think about particularly last events in Iran. I'm talking about the attack. We also have to bear in mind the story of Ukraine. And I think that this sort of an attack, which was quite substantial, is also a message that comes from the West to the Iranians that their involvement in Ukraine, side by side with Russia, that involvement have been noted, and it's not going to not be responded to. So
certainly
I think that this is something
absolutely relevant situation, part of the story around Iran today more than ever. Avi Melamed, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.